Alright, this is Justin of Team Herp Your Derp with deck profile on my Fables. I run triple Grimrow. If you control a Fabled, you can send her to the grave and search your deck for any Fabled but herself, so she's not thrown into other decks. She's level 4, which makes it easy to get out 5s. And she has 1700 attack, even though it's kind of a last resort to summon her, but when you do, you're probably going to lose. Triple Ganashia, however you say its name. When it's discarded by anything, you just special summon it, and it becomes an 18 beater instead of 16, and it's level 3. And with Cerebral, you make 5s with it. And when it's removed from the field, if it was special summoned by the fact, it's removed from play, which kind of sucks, because if your opponent summons Levy Air, they can just summon this little guy and then beat you up with it. Triple Shawa. It speeds up the deck because you can discard a Fabled to special summon this, and then most likely the Fabled you discarded special summons as well, and then you can just sync for whatever. 2 Kushano can be compared to Treeborn Frog in Frognarks because you just keep using its effect over and over again for advantage. Because with this, basically, even if you're losing, you can top deck a different Fabled and then discard it, and then normal summon him, and then you can just like stall. 2 Cruz is like running extra Monster Reborns. When she's discarded, you can select another Fabled in your grave and special summon it to the field. Even though it says it cannot select itself, if you have another copy in your grave, then you can select that. 2 Lurie, because when you top deck this and then discard it for Kushano and then summon Kushano, you get instant level 4s. And also with Chawa, you can get Formula Synchron. And if you're on Fabled Valkyrius, it's another Fiend target. Double Cerebral. I don't run 3 like most do. I find it kind of an overkill, and when it's discarded, you can special summon it. Level 2 tuner. And you sync for 5s with Ganasha. Or 6 with Grimrow sometimes. 2 Reborn Tengu. Ain't as good as it once was, but it's still there. And Satsu. Hopefully it goes to 3. But you can still get advantage for it, and it's good for making 5s with Chawa, and then getting another Tengu, and then syncing for something else. 1 Sangans, all your monsters are really puny, and it's your only dark in the deck. You just search for whatever you need. And 1 Honest is your only hand trap. And sometimes it can be good, but sometimes it can be bad at the same time. Because if you're trying to get Raisin's effect off for more pluses, that can be stuck in your hand sometimes. Double MST for back row destruction. Double Monster Reincarnation for crazy combos with this. You can like discard a Cruz and add a Grimrow and then special something with Cruz, and then discard Grimrow and add something in your hand, and then discard something and like special summon Chawa. It just makes for crazy plays. 1 Pot of Avarice because you synchro summon a lot and you send your monsters to the grave, and this just adds more draw power and recycling. Foolish Burial to just drop Kushano to the grave early game. Mind Control, just to take your opponent's monster, do whatever you want with it, you know, synchro. Card Destruction can be compared to Card Destruction in Dark Worlds. It's just massive advantage and disrupts your opponent's hand. Monster Reborn, just to bring stuff back, synchro even more. Dark Hole is just to blow stuff up. Heavy Storm to blow more stuff up and allow your plays to go through. 1 for 1 is really good for pitching Kushano and getting out of Chawa or Lurie. It makes for more synchros because you don't have the normal summon yet. Triple Compulse is really good this format with a lot of MSTs running around. You need chainable spell traps because unlike Deep Prison, if that gets MST'd you can't do anything, but that you can chain it. And it's really good against X-Seeds since they just go away and then the materials go to the grave. 1 Torrential, I might take it out. I don't know really what I would replace it with, but most of the time because I'm pushing and swarming, that Torrential really doesn't do me any good because I always have monsters on the field. 1 Mere Force for defense. Good card is good. 1 Starlit Road, since you do set your spell and traps all the time just so you can draw with Raging, and then your spell and traps will be sitting there, so your opponent will heavy storm you a lot and you'll get out that. And then you do swarm the field as well with a lot of high attack monsters, so with the Dark Hole you can negate that. And then since you get Stardust, you can just negate some more stuff. And then one Solemn Judgment to pay half your life points to negate anything you want. That's the main deck. Right. And then for side deck, double Fabled Diarrhea. Just because he's a 28 beater, and he's only a 1 tribute if you tribute a Fabled. And then during your opponent's turn, the first normal spell card they activate is negated, and then you can discard any card you want from your hand. So basically, you just get massive advantage off of him. And Dino Rabbit, you know, can't get over him because he's just huge. Double Mask of Restricts. Okay. Double Mask of Restricts. It's really good against Hierarch Dragons, so I can't run Light Imprisoning Mirror, since, you know, all my monsters are lights. And then the occasional Frognarch just, you know, gets a middle finger to the face by that guy. Double DD Crow. It's good against Chaos Dragons and Inzectors and Windups, all three of those decks, because they'll summon like their rat or whatever and select their target, and then you just crow their target. And then for Inzectors, they target the Hornet and you just get rid of the Hornet. And then same goes for Chaos Dragons when they're like targeting something with Red Darkness Metal. Double Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. Good against Dark Worlds, Gravekeepers, Inzectors, anything that runs Dark Monsters. Double Consecrated Light is the biggest middle finger ever if you get that first turn, since they cannot normal summon, special summon, attack, you know, with Darks or anything, so it's even better than Shadow. And one MST in my side just because I need more Spell and Trap Destruction if they're like siding things like Dimensional Fissure. One Morphing Jar, I just had that in there in case of versed like Exodia or something, just to get rid of their pieces. One Dust Tornado for the extra destruction. One Prohibition in case of versed like something weird like Final Countdown or a deck that just focuses on one card, I can stop it. And then one Book of Moon for extra control against Exceed crazy decks, because they'll get out their Logi or whatever, and you just target it with a book. And since they're either forced to negate it, basically, because, you know, they have to detach the two materials to negate it, and if they don't negate it, it just goes face down, and then their two materials get detached anyway. Alright, then for extra deck, the most important part, your Synchros. You got your level 2, which is easy to get out with Chawa and Luri, and it lets you draw a card. Unicore, when you and your opponent have the same amount of cards in your hand, it negates everything, and it even negates things in chains, unlike Light and Darkness Dragon or a Horus or a Sheehan. You know, they can't do that, but he can. One Fabled Kudabi, if you have no cards in your hand, it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. So he's just amazing and extremely hard to kill this format. He's not as good against Chaos Dragon though, because they got Chaos Sorcerer and BLS and they just removed from play. It's really annoying. One TG Hyperderp, because every time either player synchro summons, you just draw a card and you can get a lot of pluses off it. And then my other level 5s is 2 Ragins. When it's synchro summoned, if you have less than 2 cards in your hand, you can draw until you have 2. And then the timing with this is if you have TG on the field and you get Ragin, he goes first, so you draw 2, and then you draw 1 with him, so you draw 3 cards. One Brionic, because it's extremely good synchro in itself, and it's even better in Fables because they get their effects off with discarding. And one Gaia Knight is just a level 6, that's a 26 beater, he's just big, gets over stuff. Ancient Fairy Dragon's a level 7, and I don't like Gravekeepers, and that, or Dark Worlds actually, so this can pop off the real spell and give me an instant extra grand life points. And then against Dino Rabbit, they don't run Smashing Ground or any crap like that, so they just sit there and they can't get over it. It's got 3 grand defense. My other level 7, Ancient Sacred Wyvern, when you have higher life points than your opponent, he gains that difference. So pretty much if you're going to push for a game, you synchros the punch, and then you attack with the other monsters, and each time you're doing damage, his attack just goes up, and then he's your finisher. Double Stardust, I run 2 because I do have Starlit Road, and I would like to be able to synchro for another one later on in the duel if I need to. And it's just negation effect is really good. One Black Ring Dragon, It's kind of random. I never really have to summon it, but I have it in there just in case I verse a burn deck or something. I'll actually have a chance to beat it, unlike other people. One Mistworm is the Trishula replacement. When it's summoned, you can select up to 3 cards your opponent controls and send it back to their hand. It's pretty good. And then one Fabled Leviathan. It's their level 10. It's got 3 grand attack, so it's pretty big. And it forces your opponent to think twice about killing it, because when it dies, you can add any 3 Fables from your grave back to your hand. And you only need to run 1 copy, because if he does die, you can actually target itself and put it back in your extra deck, and then just add 2 Fables to your hand. And that is my profile.